Hey, JC, how are you doing? We got the list. We got the list early. Black Friday, Record Store Day. First impressions. Chose about 20 to 30 titles here that we could talk about. But let's talk about the big news first. The omissions. So it seems like it's probably the smallest list in years for Black Friday, and most likely that's due to the pressing plant issues, the backlog of records now, and who knows if we'll even get all of these titles. And some of these titles are titles that were supposed to come out already and got pushed back to Black Friday. Obviously, the disappointing news is Neil Young. Neil Young was set to release on Black Friday the box set of Freedom, Ragged Glory, and Weld. It's nowhere to be found on this list. As we know with Neil Young, all the bootleg albums are supposed to be coming out already. We're supposed to have received them already, and we're only getting one, it looks like, at this moment. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm trying to dig into it. I've been on the archives page waiting for Neil Young to, normally once a week he does his letters segment where he answers the fan questions. We'll see if he answers the question about the Record Store Day release. But let's dive into this before we go any further. So I'm going to point out some releases. I'm going to point out some interesting things that I think we should take note of. We have 80s hard rock bonanza with this Record Store Day. So I do think that partly the record companies are understanding in the last few years with the Skid Row and the Tesla releases that these are selling extremely well. But they're certainly not listening to us when we say that we are tired of the picture discs, because those are still coming, and I'll point out some of those. So first, Aerosmith, boom. Only 1,000 made, pretty sweet. This is what Record Store Day should be. You got, these are all demos. It's The Road Starts Here. It comes out on vinyl and cassette, pretty cool. I can dig it. I think that's a cool release. And I love Aerosmith. They're a great band. Next, Chet Baker with Albert House, only 1,300 copies. Very cool. What makes this cool is this is the first time this has been reissued since 1969. So I dig that. I know Chet Baker is not everybody's cup of tea, but just a cool release. Next one, Blackberry Smoke with Stone. This is an all covers, Rolling Stones covers album. Pretty cool. 2,500 copies. I mean, I think these type of releases are pretty cool. They're not for everybody, but you can understand. I think they make Record Store Day more interesting when you have things like this. Okay, next one. John Carpenter Goes to Mars. This was already supposed to come out. Why am I spotlighting this? Because a lot of people may not know that this is the album that he collaborated with the heavy metal band Anthrax. 2,500 copies, never been on vinyl before, so pretty cool. Leonard Cohen, Songs of Love and Hate. That's another good one. What makes this one really cool, guys, is it comes with a book. It's the 50th anniversary, but what I like most about it is that it's like the original pressing where it did not have the track listing on it. Once you remove the shrink, there is no track listing. So very, very cool. Got a cool hype sticker. I dig it. Just such a great album. Okay, Alice Cooper, Brutal Planet. I know my main man Gary loves this one. What makes this special? It's cut at 45 RPMs. So kind of an audiophile edition, only 1,200 copies. So very limited, considering Alice Cooper is normally pressed much higher than that. Okay, next, Crosby and Nash. So no stills with this one. 1975 album. This has been reissued before, but never with the original cover art. So they went back to the original cover art. Only 1,000 of them pressed. Wind on the Water. Pretty cool for you David Crosby and Graham Nash fans. All right, here's one that I'm excited about. We knew that we were going to eventually get one that I was super excited about. I am excited about the Aerosmith. But Miles Davis, Live Evil. Very, very cool. Tons and tons of copies. 10,550, which is a weird number, but who knows. And it's going to be on opaque teal vinyl. I just love that cover. It's just so cool. So yeah, definitely going to get that one. Now, I mentioned before that there's some picture discs. We knew the picture discs were coming. And some of these are going to drive people nuts because, they're pretty rare, hard to find albums like Holy Diver. People want a standalone pressing of that. They're not getting it. They're getting a picture disc. 7,500 copies. Should be pretty easy to find. Last in Line, another great Dio album. 7,500 copies. Picture disc once again. No More Tears. We are getting a standalone pressing of this, so I can understand why they're doing a picture disc. 9,200 copies of that. Oh my goodness. And lastly, Iron Maiden. This was released, I believe, overseas last year. Their first self-titled album, 5,000 copies of Iron Maiden. So there's some picture discs for you, for those picture disc collectors. That ain't me. Okay, next, one that we were supposed to get over the summer. A lot of people hit me up, Josh, where's Dire Straits? Where's Dire Straits? We're getting Dire Straits. Encores, 6,000 pink vinyl, just like before. So not much change there, pretty cool. Craft Recordings, they're doing Evanescence. 4,650 copies of this album. You know, Craft does a good job, so that's pretty cool. Jimi Hendrix Experience, Paris, 1967. 13,200 copies. Should not be hard to find. This is part of the official Jimi Hendrix bootleg collection. So very, very, very cool. Jimi Hendrix always has some great releases if you are into his live material. Okay, next one, Jason Isbell. He's got Georgia Blue. This is where he's covering all artists from Georgia. I think Def Cab for Cutie did this recently too. I don't understand what the whole obsession with Georgia is lately, but whatever it is, their fans are getting those covers. And there's 12,000 copies of this one being pressed. So pretty cool. Next, Judas Priest. We were supposed to get this earlier. This is their double LP greatest hits, 2,000 made. And also King's X, which we were supposed to get earlier this year. Please Come Home, Mr. Bulbous, with 2,000 copies of that. Okay, so there's a couple of ones that we were supposed to get earlier. We didn't. Next, LA Guns, Walking the Dead, 1,200 copies. So this was released in the early 2000s for you folks that maybe kind of dropped off the LA Guns after, you know, the mid 90s or early 90s. So this one is pretty difficult to find. I'm not sure if it ever had a vinyl pressing before, 1,200 copies. So I'm sure people will scoop that one up. I wish it was Cocked and Loaded. That's one of my grails, missing that one. John Legend, once again, I think this is John Legend's second album, if I'm not mistaken. Man, I love John Legend's voice. That guy's got an incredible voice. 5,800 copies, 2 LP. That's something I've never seen on vinyl before. So very interesting release for Record Store Day. Rhino Records, they're doing a Little Feat live album from 1974, 2 LP, 5,000 copies. Maxwell, man, oh my God, talk about people with great voices. Love Maxwell. And this is the album Now, 4,600 copies. It's a root beer colored vinyl, and it comes with a book. So pretty sweet. Now, here's something interesting. I think everybody's probably going to find this pretty interesting. Last year, or this year, earlier this year, we were supposed to get Mr. Big, Lean Into It on vinyl for Record Store Day, and it got delayed. But there was only supposed to be 1,000 copies. Well, they've upped it to 5,000 copies. So it's going to be much easier for everyone to get a copy. I remember people were messaging me saying, there's no way I'm going to be able to get this. And they were pissed off. Well, hopefully now this will make you feel a little bit better. There's 5,000 copies. You should be able to get a copy. So pretty cool there. Night Ranger, Somewhere in California, 1,000 copies of that. First time on vinyl. Probably going to be pretty hard to find. Next, Poison, Flesh and Blood. This is one of the hardest Poison records to find on vinyl. I do own an original pressing, but that wasn't easy to find. This one had the hit Something to Believe In, Ride the Wind. It may have, no, I don't think it had it on Skinny Pop. I forget. But you can get it. 4,000 copies. Should be relatively easy to get. Pretty cool. For you Poison fans out there. And like I said, there's a lot of hard rock, a lot of you know, hair metal as people call it, but a lot of albums in that era. And we're gonna get to a big one coming up, which I know is Aaron's Grail. So hopefully we can get Aaron a copy. Next, one of my favorite bands, Puscifer, Maynard James Keenan from Tool. He's got 2 releases coming out. They're both live. One is a 7-inch, which has 2,000 copies. And then we get a full 12-inch live album. These are from the live streams. that he did, and that's 4,500 copies. So I'll be picking up both of those. You guys know I'm a huge fan of that band. So next is going to be Todd Rundgren. Congratulations, Todd, entering the Hall of Fame this year. Rhino's giving you a reissue. It's clear vinyl with a bonus 7-inch, 4,500 copies. Rhino tends to do that a lot of times when someone enters the Hall of Fame. They'll spotlight them on Record Store Day. I've noticed that. Pretty cool. All right, let's talk about Aaron's Grail. Definitely what I'm going to get. Saigon Kick, The Lizard. I mean, this is a super hard album to find on vinyl. And this is the one with Love Is On The Way. That one. So if you remember that song, it was a big hit. 2,000 copies. Definitely going to score it. Definitely want to pick it up. So very, very cool. Next, Smiths, Kotzen. 2,500 copies, 4 new songs. This is just an EP. They released an album last year during the pandemic. This is 4 songs that did not make the album, so pretty cool. Next one's really interesting because I love this band. It just brings me back to my childhood. The Stray Cats, and this is going to be a 3 LP live album from 2 different shows. So they've taken 2 shows and made one big triple LP live album from 1983. This is being put out by Music on Vinyl, and it's only going to have 1,750 copies, so pretty limited. Next, Sun Ra with Omniverse, 2,200 copies of that one, so very cool. Next, Tesla, 4,000 copies on blue vinyl, pretty cool, awesome. Next, U2 with Gloria. Man, I love that song. And that's the 40th anniversary of Gloria, believe it or not. And 7,000 copies, 45 RPM, gatefold cover. Pretty cool for the U2 fans. Not a huge U2 fan, but pretty cool that they're releasing that album. And lastly, Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Wes Anderson. I love Wes Anderson. I have a Life Aquatic tattoo on my leg of Bill Murray from that movie. Pretty cool. And this has got tons of Bowie songs on it. It's just a great soundtrack. Okay, guys, well, that's it. That's the list. I will dive deeper into some of these titles and more titles as we go. I'll give you prices as I normally do. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll join you this weekend with something else cool. I'm going to see Dawes in concert. Peace. Rock out. I love you guys.